Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Theresa Donoghue, Press and Communications Advisor at Solar Power Europe, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our Solar Diversity Champion Awards webinar 2025. Now, no doubt, as I'm sure you all know, solar power is pioneering in the renewable energy sector, with women currently making up 40% of the workforce already, according to the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA. However, we still have a long road ahead to boost the presence of underrepresented groups in STEM fields and in leadership roles. So Solar Power Europe's Solar Diversity Champion Awards, they celebrate organizations that have demonstrated a clear commitment to building inclusive, equitable, and diverse work environments, something that I know you'll definitely see in our three finalists today. So over the next hour, we're going to hear from our finalists, who are Boralex, Fundación Generation Spain, and Women in Solar Energy Ireland, who will present their solar diversity stories. After this, you'll be able to vote for your gold, silver, and bronze winners. So a brief run through and more details of what the next hour is going to look like. We'll hear first from our three jury members, Tamara McConey, founder and CEO of Kazuri Consulting. Then we'll hear from Sophie Weiss, Head of Learning and Development at Sonadex. And finally, Alan de Bruyne, Global Inclusive Strategist and Consultant. Following this, each finalist will make their presentation. And our jury and you, our audience, you'll be able to vote. You'll be able to ask our finalists questions. Both the jury and audience will be able to do this. And a note to the audience to make sure to put your questions into our chat box. At the end of our final presentation, we'll then hear from our jury one last time while the voting takes place. Now, with that, I'd like to hand over to our first jury panelist, beginning with Tamara McConey. Go ahead, Tamara.
Hello, thank you very much for having me here and Solar Power Europe for organising this really wonderful event. Hello to everybody, I'm Tamara McConey, I live in Brussels and I'm an inclusion and culture specialist and founder of Kazuri Consulting. I work with multinational companies as a strategic advisor and a facilitator, helping organizations use DEI to empower talent from all backgrounds and also to achieve strategic objectives that they have for themselves as organizations. I also frequently guest lecture at the universities around Europe, and this year I published a book on identity and inclusive community building within Europe called Women, Intersectionality and Europe. I'm really happy to be part of the jury this year, taking part in this award ceremony, because this is such an important topic. I think especially now, looking at the context that we're in, the world around us, very important to keep talking about this topic, about DE&I, to keep working on it and seeing how to make society even more inclusive as we move forward. So I very much enjoyed reading through all of the submissions of the three finalists. I say congratulations to all three of you already for the work that you have achieved. Really looking forward to hearing more about your projects and initiatives. And also best of luck to all of you as we find out who gets the gold, silver and bronze award. So thanks very much for having me and looking forward to the award ceremony.
Thank you, Tamara, for your lovely words. I'll now pass on to Sophie Weiss, Head of Learning and Development at Sonadex.
Hi everybody. I'm also very excited and very happy to be here, and also can't wait to hear more about the three submissions. So my name is Sophie Weiss. I am Head of Learning and Development at an organisation called Sonadex. We are a global renewable energy provider. I'm based in London. However, as an organisation, we develop, we construct and we operate solar and wind assets across 10 countries. And I've been here for almost 4 years and have a strong background in kind of talent assessment and development, which has naturally evolved into a focus on diversity and inclusion. And my focus is really about how do we attract, how do we assess, and how do we grow people in a way that is fair, human, and really representative of the world that we live in. And just kind of some of the initiatives that we work on in Sonadex. A key part of my role is overseeing our diversity and equity and inclusion agenda, including our DEI manifesto, which outlines our commitments to diversity, equity and inclusion to 2030. We have a purpose-built internship programme that is designed to provide access to the renewable energy sector for underrepresented groups. We build kind of development programmes to support our Women in Leadership pipeline. And we also host our own kind of diversity, equity and inclusion summit on an annual basis to bring kind of diverse leaders and industry leaders together to talk about these important topics. I'm also, really excited to hear more about all the brilliant work happening across the three organisations today. And yeah, thank you again for having me.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Sophie. I think we're all very excited to hear our three finalists speak today. And now I'm going to invite our final jury member, Alan De Bruyne, Global Inclusive Strategist and Consultant, to briefly say a few words. Go ahead, Alan.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for the invitation, Solar Power. It's really powerful to organize these kinds of events still today, as it's not the easiest thing to do. Maybe I can come back to that, but first of all, thank you for the invitation, and I will present myself. So my name is Alan De Bruyne. I'm for over 20 years a global diversity and inclusion advisor, consultant, facilitator, strategist. And I'm mostly proud of the new product I created 2 years ago. I created Inclu, which is a product that really works on or against polarization and to create back psychological safety into teams so that people really can connect with each other and feel comfortable where they work. Now, when you asked me to come on this panel and to be a jury, I was like, yeah, why not? Well, that could be nice. It's a good initiative, and this is what I do, and this is. And then I got all these amazing ideas and projects that people do, and I was quite impressed with everything. And you should know that I'm the kind of person, when I go to a restaurant, I get stressed just by the menu. Let's imagine that I had all these projects for me, and we had to choose which one was better than the other. It was just, and I want to say to all the people that send in the project, congratulations. It's not because you're not in the last 3 that your project wasn't good enough. It was just, they were all amazing. So it was a very difficult choice, and I'm so curious to hear what everyone will bring in and to know more about projects that were selected. So happy to be here. Hello to also my co-jury members, 2 amazing women. So looking forward to how this is going. So that's me.
Thanks, Alan, for those few words, and to all of our jury members for their introductions. Now I'm delighted to invite our first finalist to present, Corentin Bondeman, Employer Brand Manager and Leader for Diversity and Inclusion at Boralex. Take it away, Corentin.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Corentin Bondeman, and I'm thrilled to be here today representing Boralex. I'm in charge of employer branding at Boralex Europe, so in France and UK, to make sure our values are not only visible, but truly lived across our teams to create meaningful employee experiences and promote our culture both internally and externally. So today I'd like to take you on a quick journey through our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. For us, it's not just a program, it's really a mindset, a commitment, and a strategic pillar of who we are. And talking about who we are, I'm going to say a few words about Boralex. Okay, so Boralex is a renewable energy company with over 30 years of experience. We develop, build, and operate wind, solar, hydroelectric, and energy storage facilities across Europe and North America. Our mission is clear: to accelerate the energy transition while creating a long-term value for communities, partners, future generation, and of course, employees. So at Boralex, we are working to include equity, diversity, and inclusion into both our strategy and our culture. As part of our 2030 strategic plan to build 7 gigawatts while cultivating a safe and inclusive environment, we made the bold move. We integrated CSR, and therefore DEI, directly into our strategic plan. So we didn't want CSR to be a side project. We want it to be part of our DNA and part of our governance, our operation, and our culture. That's why we launched a dedicated DEI program in Europe built on 4 strong pillars. So the first one is training and awareness. So we made mandatory training on unconscious bias and psychological safety for all employees. We also proposed webinars on neurodiversity and parasports. And we have internal podcasts on women in leadership. So for those three moves that we made, 92% of employees trained on unconscious bias and psychological safety during the last year. 140 people average participated to our webinar about neurodiversity and anti-sports. And 170 people listened to our podcast. At this day, we have 5 podcasts interviewing women in leadership, and the 6th one is coming next December. For the second pillar about employee support, so we have now 2 platforms for health and psychological support for all of employees in Europe. We also have, since last November, extra benefits for employees with disabilities and for caregivers. And we have created a non-made workplace well-being index with 6 questions to measure how employee feels in the company. So for the 2 platforms, they are called Colin Care and Pulso. 10% of our employees used these platforms during the first 6 months of 2025. The main topic being neurodiversity, endometriosis, and mental health. For the well-being index I told you about, we created for the last 12 months, we had 82% of people saying they are feeling great at Boralex. And we also have an engagement survey twice a year, where we have plenty of questions for employees to know how they feel, how we could do better in the company. And we have 1 question regarding the DEI engagement. And during the last 2 years, we gained 4 points on that question. So we are really proud of it. It proved that our actions really mean something. The 3rd pillar is recruitment and talent development. With inclusive recruitment processes and guidelines. We have a leadership training called the A Effect for Women. And the Gender Equality Index is something made by the French government. So it's mandatory to participate for every French company. And we really improved during the last 3 years. So for the A Effect, the leadership training, the A Effect is an external company. And for the last 3 years, we had 14 women participating to this training, and we have 5 new women doing the new training this year, so we are really proud of it. They are all from Europe, and at total with employees from Canada, we have 40 women participating to that training. Talking about the Gender Equality Index, so as I told you, we really improved because in 2023 we had 82%, 81%, and now we have 98% for the index on gender pay. So that's really great for us. And we improve because we do a systematic review of salary revision every year by gender. And finally, the inclusive and recruitment processes and guidelines are coming in a few weeks now. They are being finalized at the moment to give to all managers some guidelines to help them to recruit without any discrimination, to help them to introduce really diversity in their team. And the last pillar, community engagement and governance. So we support inclusive charities and adapted companies every year. So adapted companies in France, it means it's companies who works with people with disabilities. We also have a school outreach to promote renewable energy and gender inclusion in renewable energy and in work. And for the last one, we have a CSR company for almost 2 years now with DEI leaders and dedicated HR dashboard to follow every action we do about DEI. So about the school outreach to promote renewable energy and gender inclusion, around 100 students were reached through this program, so we are really proud of it. We also donated during the last 3 years more than 20,000 euros to charities and adapted companies. And today, two numbers of our HR dashboard, we have 36% of managers who are women at Boralex, and 40% of promotions and hire in 2024 were women at Boralex Europe. So another view of all the number I just told you about. What makes our initiative truly special? It's really its holistic scope, because it touches every level of the organization. All employees benefit from awareness campaign and inclusive policies. Manager and executive receive training on inclusive leadership. HR teams are key players in implementing and tracking DEI action. And even our external stakeholders are selected based on ethical standards. So we are really proud of it. So what makes our initiative stands out? It's strategically aligned with our CSR roadmap. It's modular and scalable initiative involving every department and every level. It's impactful and cost-effective with real tools like Colin Care or upcoming inclusive guidelines for recruitment. And also it's community-driven, extending our impact beyond renewable energy and beyond Boralex. So it proved that meaningful change in equity, diversity, and inclusion is possible with impact, authenticity, and without massive budget. It's human-centered, a driver of innovation and performance, and also the well-being of our employees in the company. So to wrap up and to give the mic to the next finalist, I'd say that Boralex, we don't think DEI as a checkbox. It's really a commitment, and it's sincere from us. It's about creating a workplace where everyone feels respected, supported, and empowered to grow. And we don't keep this journey to ourselves. We share our experience through CSR reports, webinars, employee testimonials, etc. And in October, we'll proudly sign the Charter of Commitment from L'Autre Cercle, joining a network of French companies promoting LGBTQIA+ inclusion. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening, and thank you for celebrating diversity with us.
Thanks, Tom, for that lovely presentation. Now we'll go to a little Q&A. First, to our jury, I'm wondering if we've any questions for Corentin on his presentation. Maybe Tamara, I'm not too sure if you do have a question, or
I do have a
jury
question.
members.
I do have a question, thank you. And first of all, thank you very much to Corentin for a very interesting presentation. I think it's great how you really bring to life those practical examples about your mindset and embedding DEI into the core of what you're doing at Boralex. So really interesting. I have a question about intersectionality and looking at, in essence, the multiple layers of every employee's or every person's identity and how those intersect in our day-to-day lives in the workplace, etc. It's great how you mention initiatives around gender, disability, etc. Do you currently account for intersectionality in how you are envisaging the work or how you're running initiatives, or how might you address this in future?
No, at the moment we don't, because it's kind of difficult in France because we have law that we don't have the permission to ask a question about intersectionality. So it's really difficult because it's something we can't really measure at work. So we're trying to make an inclusive workplace, but it's really difficult to implement strategic action about it. So that's something we are looking for with all the law that we have not helping us doing it. So we are talking about it with other companies or charities to know how we can do better about it, but it's really something we are looking for to improve, but not really helped at the moment.
Thanks, Tamara, for that great question. I'm wondering, I think we have a question in our Q&A chat box from Nada Hoffman. I'm not too sure if you want to ask the question directly, Nada, but I see, do you expand DEI requirements further into your supply chain? But perhaps, Nada, you might want to also go live if you want to ask that question directly.
Well, for supply chain, it's about our external providers. So we have, I'm looking for the English word for that, but we have an ethical code that we are following, and we are asking all our external providers to follow that rules to be sure that we employ company, well, not employ, but work with company who respect that rules to be sure that they are inclusive too.
Great, thanks for answering that question, Corentin, and thanks, Nada, for asking it. And if we have no more questions, I think, yes, I want to say thanks, Anton, for your lovely presentation. We'll now hear from our second finalist, Fundación Generation Spain. And I'd like to invite Estela de la Cruz, Deputy CEO, to present. Take it away, Estela.
Thank you. So, what can an unemployed father say when his daughters ask, "Dad, what do you do for work?" Manuel, over 45, faced that question after years of unemployment. But Manuel's story is not unique. There is also Trini, who broke gender barriers to enter in the world of electrical work, and Tariq, who overcame prejudice simply because he was born in Morocco. These are not just individual stories. They are the voices of resilience, representing thousands of people who have been excluded from opportunities but are determined to rewrite their stories. Spain faces a social paradox. Structural unemployment and a shortage of talent coexist in the same landscape. More than 2.5 million people are unemployed. Like Manuel, they don't just lose income, they lose dignity, confidence, and stability. And at the same time, there are more than 500,000 unfilled job vacancies, many in green and technical sectors. Yet, those who most need the opportunity, women, migrants, older workers, and long-term unemployed, are too often left behind. And in solar, a sector that should symbolize the future, the diversity gap in STEM and technical roles is still a reality. Good afternoon. I'm Estela de la Cruz, CEO of Generation Spain. Since 2015, we have been transforming lives. And today, as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we are proud of a global network tackling unemployment worldwide. Our solution is simple but powerful. We launched our first free solar training program in Spain, designed specifically for people who are usually left behind. But we don't stop at technical training. We add what makes the difference: mentorship, employability coaching, and soft skills that help people not only to find jobs, but to keep them. And what makes it truly sustainable is the way we work. Through public-private partnerships, employers help shape the curriculum. Public and philanthropic funders make the program possible. And together, we ensure that every graduate has a pathway into work. Our goal is not just to train people, but to connect them to real, lasting employment, building futures as strong and sustainable as the panel they install. But to understand a bit more our approach, let's take a closer look to our learners. 43% of them are over 45 years old, and 48% support dependents. And many, unfortunately, come from little formal education or years in the informal economy. For them, training is not an easy task. Some of them have been away from classroom for decades. So what do? We adapt. We personalize the pace, offering one-to-one mentorship and tailoring our coaching. Because inclusion means meeting people where they are and walking with them towards a dignified future. And the results speak for themselves. Since 2022, we have trained 328 people across 17 cohorts in Spain. Despite coming from vulnerable backgrounds, 90% of them graduate, showing that the program is both accessible and engaging. And most importantly, 80% of them find employment within 6 months, proving that our focus is not just training, but true labor market integration. Together with the partnership ecosystem we have built, our programs create a double transformation. For the individuals and families, access to a stable, dignified, green jobs after years of exclusion. For the solar sector, a new, diverse talent pipeline that eases the skill shortages and even fuels entrepreneurships, with some of our graduates starting their own installation crews. This is the power of an holistic model. People gain dignity and futures, and the solar industry gains the workforce it needs to grow inclusively. And we are not stopping here, because what makes our model work in Spain, namely the combination of technical training, holistic support, and strong partnerships, is exactly what makes it replicable. At Generation, we are part of a global network working in 17 countries, and we share data, tools, and best practices to adapt this approach to different contexts. And in Europe, our partnership with the European Solar Academy, we are aligning curricula and offering EU-level certification for our graduates. That means that employers anywhere in Europe can hire our alumni with confidence, and training providers can adopt our inclusive approach. The same model of funders, public agencies, and employers working together can be built across borders, ensuring that the green transition is not only fast, but fair. In short, we are not just scaling a curriculum, we are scaling a partnership model that shows that solar can open doors for everyone, everywhere. So the green transition will only succeed if there is also an inclusive transition. At Generation Spain, we don't just train workers, we change lives. We prove that people that too often are excluded can thrive at the very heart of Europe's clean energy future. Sustainability is not just about reducing emissions, it's also about restoring dignity. A mother pays his rent with confidence, a young person regaining hope, a father finally able to look his daughters in the eye and proudly said, "I'm a solar panel installer." That's the future we are building. And with your vote, you can help us make it real, showing that solar energy is not just about energy, but about opportunity for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Estela, for that powerful presentation. I see we have a question from Alan, our jury member. Go ahead, Alan.
Hi, thank you. And thank you, Estela. Wow, what a presentation. And it brings us back where we all doing this for, like having an impact on individuals and making a better life for everyone. So that is really a nice to remember. One of the things I was wondering when I see the whole process, and again, impressive, all this different levels you work with people and dignity you bring back, and also keeping their job, not just dropping them somewhere and then, but really keep on following up and seeing the impact it has in the percentage. So I'm impressed. But one of the things that I know from experience, and I was wondering how you did this, is that if you bring in a new group of people that they are not in an existing group, and we can say this in general, but specific the target group you work with, I'm wondering how you prepare companies therefore. Are they ready? Do you feel any pushback, and how you deal with this? Because you can do your work on your side perfectly to prepare everyone, but if a company is not ready to deal with difference, whatever difference it is, by the way, yeah, all your work is lost. So I'm wondering how you prepare the companies to bring in your people.
Thank you so much for your question, Alan. I think this is really important in our methodology because we involve employers from the very beginning, even when we select the candidates for our programs. So they are aware that the talent they are going to bring in is diverse talent. So they are part of the selection process. They also participate in class. So they see the profiles, and then we organize hiring days. So the employers select the profile they think they fit more in their culture and in their companies. And apart from this kind of really committed employees, we work with the sector to ensure that the vacancies we put for our graduates are employers that really understand the difficulty and they really embrace diversity. And what we heard, once they try the model, they want to repeat, because the people we put for the companies are people that have really a good attitude, because they come from vulnerable backgrounds and they know the value of a job. So they come with the best of attitude, the positive energy, and really grateful for the opportunity. And actually what it happens that they prefer sometimes our participant than the normal way or recruiting, because of also the attrition we get and the retention of our employees in their companies.
Thank you very much. It's very clear. You just you have the employees that already are motivated, that really you involve them from the beginning. So yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan and Estella. I'm wondering if we have any questions from our audience. If not, I might ask you a question myself, Estella.
Okay.
It's clear that you're very passionate about the work that you do. I'm wondering, like, what got you into this work in the first place? And actually, the second question, are you hopeful that there is sort of this culture amongst organizations and companies in Spain to step up on the DEI front? Like, are you hopeful for the future?
So I think more and more we see companies that they really embrace this talent, because sometimes the most difficult part also is the part of retention. And they see the retention rates are greater with this profile. And I think now that years before, this was something that only some people were allies or champion, but now this is in the culture of every company, that diversity is part of the innovation. There is no innovation without diversity. And I think that's more and more is in our ecosystem. Also, something that helps is that the talent shortages, because companies are always companies. So now with the talent shortage, especially on the blue collar and particularly in solar energy sector, they are more open to try. And it's a good opportunity for us to prove that diversity makes the job even better.
That's great. Thanks for answering. Now we're going to be hearing from our last Solar and Talent Acquisition and DEI Manager of Women in Solar Energy Ireland.
Hi, everybody. That's a great title for me. I'm not sure I can fully claim that I'm talent acquisition, but I am a co-founder of WISER, which is the Women in Solar Energy Network for Ireland. We're a very young network. We only started, had a launch event in April 2024. But one of the reasons I think we should win, having heard from the other amazing finalists, is that our name. I just think it's really, really clever. And I also think the fact that our network was really needed in Ireland. As I said, we launched in April 2024, and there was a great uptake from the network from the very start. There was great interest in it. And great enthusiasm for it. And I think that shows that there was a gap there, that and shows that there was a network that was needed. So this is our lovely logo. That didn't come day one, obviously, but it was designed by the partner of one of our other founders, Dawn. But this is how it started. It's the proof that the story of the start of WISER really is how it happened. I had attended the Solar Ireland conference, which is Solar Ireland is the network for solar developers and like me, advisors into solar projects. I'm a lawyer working in the planning and environmental space, so I would advise on solar projects and for engineers and everybody else feeding into the process. They have a conference every year, and I at the end of that conference, on the way home on the train, I posted on LinkedIn just noting, my favorite presentation, but also the fact that I hadn't really seen that many women speaking. I thought that there was definitely an imbalance there, and I came up with the name WISE, and I thought we should start a network going. And actually, then I was really surprised that people started rowing in straight away with, yeah, great idea, let's do it. And I thought, oh, I shouldn't have put this out publicly to start with, because now I can't not do it now that everyone's seen the idea. But no, it was brilliant to get that support straight away, and people were suggesting women that could be involved in it. And especially from Conal Bulger, who was at the time the CEO of Solar Ireland. And he said, we'll back you as well, and we'll get involved. And he sent me a private message saying, no, I'm being serious. I'm not just commenting on your post to, make it look good. I really do want to get this up and running and help you. So it was brilliant to have his expertise. And then, so that was how it started, and this is how it's going. This is the picture from our launch event, which my law firm Philip Lee kindly agreed to host. And we had a full room, and we had Conal there from Solar Ireland who spoke. And then we also had that moving on to a panel. We had developers and Sive O'Neill, who's a project lead for Feminist Communities for Climate Justice. And we had Bridget as well, who is kind of a rooftop solar. So we had utility scale solar and rooftop. And then we continued on with our events. It was such a great buzz in the room at that first day. Really great, brilliant energy, and lots of people, saying, well done for setting it up, and I'm really eager to be involved, and I have ideas for speakers, and I'll offer to host. And so there was all this energy. So we kept going with our events, and the next one we did online to be able to widen our audience and let other people get involved with the network. And so we had a half-year roundup just on all the developments that had happened in the space. As everybody working in solar knows, it moves very quickly. It's expanding and growing all the time, and things are changing and developing, both on the technology side and the legal and regulatory side. So we had a half-year roundup of new developments, and then moved into a panel with some lawyers. We had someone from SEI, the Sustainable Energy Authority in Ireland, KPMG, so they spoke about financing solar projects, and then Aoibhinn Cawley was on the ecology side, and getting these projects permitted. So we really try with our events to speak to everybody in the audience at their level. So there's some people, because solar is growing so fast, there's a lot of new people entering the sector, and there's a lot of people moving into the sector from other areas. And so they're really looking to build their networks and gather information. And then there's obviously people who are more experienced in it. So we try to pitch our events so that everybody gets something out of it. After that, we were back in person in another law firm, and a partner there had a fireside chat between herself and then Niamh from JP Jewell, a solar developer. And then this was followed by networking training, because like the Generation Spain, we believe that you need the skills, but you need the technical skills, but also the soft skills to succeed. And so we try to mix our events between a little bit of technical update and industry knowledge, but then also some of the softer skills. And networking is one where if you use this to your advantage, you can really create some great opportunities. This is a picture then of that event and our attendees and our trainer giving the networking presentation. And in December then we had another event, Financing the Future of Solar, held in another law firm. They obviously have very fancy graphics with the moving one. But yeah, we put our Christmas bells on our poster for this one, and we had again a moderator from the host company, and then different panelists talking about rooftop solar, but then also utility scale solar and the financing of those. So unlocking opportunities for solar investment and project development. We've been really lucky. We have had offers to host these events, and people are really eager to kind of bring the network into their companies, get their internal people to attend, and show that they are supporting the inclusion and promotion and development of women in the solar space. So we haven't had to worry about bank accounts or funding or sponsorship yet, and so that's been a really brilliant start to our network. And they had a great setup there with their panel, and there's Dawn speaking and welcoming everyone to the event, and our attendees. And And then for International Women's Day this year, we went back to having a webinar on driving diversity and leadership in the industry that was moderated by Priscilla Pfeiffer McGeehan from Solar Ireland. And then I was on the panel along with Olivia Abel, who's works with a developer, and Laura McCardle, who's Rooftop Solar. And we had a great discussion about kind of our own experiences and as women working in the industry, and some learnings that we had from our journey so far. And then suddenly we were in April 25, and it was time for our 1-year anniversary. We were back in Philip Lee in my law firm, and we had a brilliant panel on the topic of community partnership building and how to improve project community communications. John Aston had started a new academy about really getting communities involved at the start of projects and trying to narrow this gap that was emerging between the enthusiasm and the desire and the need to develop solar and renewable projects, but that communities were being left behind and feeling that there was a real distrust there. They were just being presented with projects that had been fully formed. So we had him speaking, as well as academics, someone from the Department of Energy, and Lorcan gave a talk at the start about just communication principles in general. So there was kind of that learning part for maybe people that don't work solely in solar. And again, we just really hope that everybody got something out of it. And there's a lovely panel there. And then most recently, just last Wednesday, we had another in-person event, this time held in the Power Capital Renewable Energy offices. So a developer, solar developer, with lots of projects around the country. And this one, again, was switching back into the soft skills. And we had Norma O'Sullivan talking about leadership and using authentic leadership to realize your full potential. And again, we had a lovely crowd there, lots of networking and good discussions. Justin Brown from Power Capital just welcoming everyone to the offices, and Norma giving her presentation. And one other thing that Wiser has kind of been involved with in conjunction with Solar Ireland is this idea of a spotlight on solar women. So they have every kind of quarter, every couple of months, they have an article about a woman working in solar and just talking about her journey and interview and her learning. So that's another thing that Wiser is spearheaded. And we're very lucky to have been shortlisted for a Diversity and Inclusion Initiative Award at the Irish Renewable Energy Awards. So that's in November. And we're not, we're a young network, so we haven't really been gathering hard data. But I suppose it is interesting to note that this whole idea sprung from the Solar Ireland conference in 2023, where there was a 14% women speaking at the event. And this year in 2025, the conference is happening tomorrow, there'll be a 26% of the speakers will be women. So that's a great increase. I'm not sure if Wiser can claim all of the credit, but we're happy to contribute. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you so much, Maeve, for that. I hope you can hear me first of all. I believe my colleague just told me there's a few IT issues, so hoping you can hear me. And yeah, I'm just wondering from our jury members if anyone has a question.
Yes, I have a question, and thank you, Maeve. Thank you for sharing that. That was really inspirational. I think it's so impressive what you've achieved in such a short space of time from that one LinkedIn post and the traction that you gained from that. My question is kind of one thing that I remember from your submission is that you kind of made the conscious choice to open the network to everybody, not just women. And I'd like to kind of hear from you what impact do you think that's had or is having on the success of the network and the importance of allies in your journey and your mission as a network?
Yeah, as you say, we've very consciously done that to make sure that everybody knows that all are welcome to our events, and it's not just women only. I know there is a benefit in having women only spaces at some sometimes, but for us, we really wanted everybody to be in the room, because I don't think things can change unless everybody is hearing about the issues. Yeah, we had a couple of men at our most recent event, and I think it's great to hear from them about their perspectives, and also let them hear from us about what we're discussing at these events and what's important and what barriers we're facing. Because as it stands, men are normally the women ones in positions of power. There may be some women around the table, but they need to be supported if they're bringing a view to the table or an idea for a change. They need men who understand to either get behind them or decide to bring forward initiatives themselves and not leave it always to the women to be making the changes. So yeah, we think that everybody needs to be in the room.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie and Maeve. I'm just going to go to our Q&A box now and see if we have any questions from our audience. Make sure to put it into the chat Q&A box if you do. If not, yeah, Maeve, I have a question myself. Maybe I'd like to ask you. I'm wondering, out of all the achievements that you've had with Women in Solar Energy Ireland, what stands out to you, I guess, as a one or two highlights, as something that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I guess it was that launch event, because obviously we had a good bit of discussion in the background before we got to that point. We had meetings with Solar Ireland, they were giving advice. We had a webinar with a woman who's running kind of a similar network in Europe, and she was offering support. But it took us a while, to get our logo going, get our kind of vision and mission set and what we were really trying to achieve with this, maybe to try and narrow down the goals in some sense, because when we start a mentorship program, when we bring everyone to visit a solar farm, there's so much you could be doing. So we tried to kind of just say, well, in the short term, what will we do first? And so having that launch event then, and having people attend and having people kind of buzzed about it, was just a great boost and a great sign that yes, this was the right thing to do, and the network was needed and would be supported. So I think that was part relief, but also a lot of joy and excitement at that moment.
I imagine it was. And thanks so much for answering the question, Maeve, and for that lovely presentation. And thanks to all of our finalists for their very inspiring presentations and for sharing their lovely and amazing DEI journeys. Now, it's time for you, the audience, to participate and to vote for and rank your gold, silver, and bronze Solar Diversity Champion Award winners. Now, if you click on this polls tab, actually there will be a link or a box that should be automatically popping up. You will go to this box and rank your gold, silver, and bronze winners. And it's just to note here in the red circle, if there isn't something popping up, go into the polls tab and here you rank. Now, I'm going to go back to our jury members while our voting is underway, beginning first with you, Tamara, to give your thoughts on our finalist presentations.
Thank you, Therese. And really, just to say to Kochanta, to Maeve, to Estella, thank you, and really congratulations. It's been very encouraging and inspiring just hearing more about the different initiatives we've been working on, these really, really great projects that you're bringing to life. And also, as Alan was saying, there were other submissions as well, many, many great projects that we had the privilege to read through and think about for this award. So really, to the 3 finalists we have here and to everybody who submitted a great project, thank you for the work that you're doing and congratulations. I think for me, one thing that really stood out about the finalists and the 3 entries was the fact that they demonstrated measurable results. So it wasn't just about ED&I is something nice, yay, we support it. It was about how to actually turn that great sentiment into action, showing the results they're having, the impact they're having, and how they're tracking this to make sure that it keeps on happening. So that was very important, and I believe really came through in each of the presentations that we saw today. Also, equity came out strongly in the different presentations, which I thought was really great. To paraphrase one of the finalists today, talking about how meeting people where they are is pivotal to this work in DE&I and pivotal to doing it right. And too often, in my experience, equity can get under-prioritized or even forgotten amidst all the other things going on. So it was really inspiring and encouraging to see from these projects how they are all putting this into practice and putting it squarely on the agenda. I wanted just as I close off to just go back a little bit to the question that I asked Cochrantown earlier and say thank you, Cochrantown, for your answer. I wanted to just give a little bit of a response on what you mentioned. I definitely can fully relate. I understand that that topic of intersectionality is so important, but I think for many organizations, it can be tough to understand exactly how to translate understanding what it is, why we need it, putting it into actual frameworks and practical things to be implemented and tracked. So I think I can definitely understand that. It's something that many people do grapple with in this, but it's great that you already have it on the agenda and you're focused on it. So just a little bit of a shout out, because intersectionality is a topic that I work on a lot. So if you or anybody else has any questions about this, very happy offline to discuss this and talk more about how to make that a reality and put a measurable impact, etc. But just to close off now, thank you very much. Really great and excited to see the results in a few moments' time. Thank you for having me on the jury, and thank you to Alan and Sophie as well for your contributions.
Thank you, Tamara, and thank you for elaborating more on your intersectionality work and for responding to Corentown's the question you posed to Corentown earlier on, like to respond to it. And yeah, and now I'm going to move on to you, Sophie. What stood out to you from the presentations today?
Thank you, and congratulations again to all three finalists. Was hugely inspiring, and just to see the impact and the scale that your initiatives are having is truly inspirational. I think for Boralex, I think it's the holistic approach that you've adopted, and just the sheer scale and how you've managed to embed DEI at the core of your culture and across all of your talent life cycle was hugely impressive. And for the Fundación Generation Spain, I think your vision is something that really resonates with me, that kind of how do we tackle unemployment nationwide or worldwide, and just the real stories and really bringing that to life. I think the impact that you're having is hugely impressive. And then finally with Wise Island, again, I think the fact that you noticed an imbalance and then you did something about it. So you kind of that passion that you've demonstrated and that willingness to go beyond your comfort zone and make this happen, and the sheer scale that you've been able to achieve was hugely inspirational. So again, congratulations to all three of you, and can't wait to see the results. And thank you to my co-panelists as well.
Thanks so much, Sophie, for those words. Now I'm going to hand over to Alan to provide some final remarks on the presentations that we've heard today. Go ahead, Alan.
Thank you. Wow. What can I say after Tamara and Sophie? I mean, yeah, I agree with everything what you said, and it's not present to talk the last one, but I think one of the things that for me stood out, and what Estella said in essence, it's in the heart of innovation, and it's in the heart of what you do, and said that I could see this in all of three of you. It's about changing. It's having an impact in people's life and being seen and valued, and not only with the classic aspects. And it's specifically, like Tamara said, there is a whole. We all have our differences and our identities, and finding ways to value and see them, and seeing you all in your way doing this is just giving me energy. And again, I want to, like Tamara did, also recognize all of those projects that haven't had the floor here to present. Each of you had done an amazing job, and for us, I think consultants and advisors, it's so inspiring to see that you're all doing and that you're all doing this amazing work. So I am happy I don't have to vote now, because as I said, I have choices stress, and I've been through that now already. So I'm so curious who you're going to take. And again, whatever you take, all those who did send in, I really want to honor you for the amazing work you do, and please keep on doing this.
Thanks, Alan, for those lovely words and for summing up everything that you've seen today. Now we're actually doing great for time, but just in case we have one or two outstanding questions from the audience, please do put any questions that you might have maybe into the chat box. Otherwise, I think it's almost time to announce our winners. Yeah, I think our voting is closed now, actually. So we'll shortly announce our gold, silver, and bronze Solar Diversity Champion Award winners for 2025. The suspense is building, I think. We're all curious to see what the final results are.
We need drumsticks, drums.
I think we need some drumsticks, sound effects, noises right now, yeah. The anticipation is building. I'm sure we'll see shortly on our screen our gold, silver, and bronze Solar Diversity Champion Award winners. And I'm delighted to say that Fundación Generation Spain is our Gold Solar Diversity Champion Award winner. A huge congratulations also to Boralex, our Silver Solar Diversity Champion Award winner, and Women in Solar Energy Ireland, our Bronze Solar Diversity Champion Award winner. Now, Estela, would you like to share an initial reaction?
Thank you so much for everyone voting. It has been amazing to see also other experiences in Europe, how we are leading the innovation in Europe in terms of energy. So looking forward for a really future of hope in this field. And I think we all together we can make more inclusive this sector. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Estela. And a huge congratulations again. And I have to say, thanks also to Maeve and Corenton for their amazing, inspiring presentations today, and to Boralex and Women in Solar Energy Ireland. And a special shout out goes to our jury members, so Tamara Makoni, Sophie Weiss, and Nalan De Bruyne, for their efforts as they were talking about selecting our finalists. Thanks again for joining today. We hope you enjoyed the Solar Diversity Champion Awards webinar 2025, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone.